right, so today you signed up for a webinar called How Bad Art Can Make Great Leaders. But I was talking to somebody in my office the other day who said, "Is that about Hitler?" And I said, "No." Um, I will not say his name. It is not about Hitler, who was an artist, but apparently had a period where he led people. Let's just say that. I am fascinated by the intersection of creativity, art, community culture, and psychological and neurological health and leadership. And so today I want to explore how an artistic practice of some kind, or even an appreciation of art, can equip us to be better leaders, community members, team members. If you have an opportunity and you can grab a sheet of paper and a pen, please do so. We're going to have a couple of artistic activities that we engage in today. And if you've not been on any of my webinars before, I'm Brandon Hudson. I'm a training program manager in the Office of Leader and Culture Development at the Texas Tech System. And if you have questions, please interrupt me. Turn on your sound, turn on your camera, or throw it in the chat, and I'll do my best to respond. We're going to start with a little bit of a rating, and I want you to rate for me on a scale from 1 to 10. How would you rate your own artistic ability? We're using Slido here. You can scan the QR code there, or you can go to slido.com and use that number to join. So there's no space when you join in that number. But if you could take a moment and rate right now how you feel about your own artistic ability. We're going to come back to this at the end of the course. Okay. Half you all have answered. Nobody thinks they are the next Picasso, huh? So 3, 4, 4 getting our biggest distribution there, 6 and a 7. Good. My hope is, as we talk about what it really means to have ability artistically today, is that you will maybe reconsider and rate yourself higher, or at least be open to doing so by the end of today's session. Because I think it's important that we are, as a species, made to make things. But I have a question, and you can answer this in the Zoom. If you feel up to it, you can chime in. I'm curious who told you when you were a kid, most kids are artistically very free. They make a mess, they call it art, they want you to hang it on the fridge. Or when you were a kid, you wanted to hang it on the fridge. They don't have the inner critic fully formed yet, or typically have not surrounded themselves with a lot of people who have judged their artistic ability, which leads to that self-judgment. One of my favorite stories is my son. We were in Sunday school, and the teacher had provided this really great activity where it was like a picture of their name, and she'd printed it out, and she wanted to color them to color in their name in a way that expressed themselves. Well, my son, who's 16 now, he scratched out his name, flipped the piece of paper over, and drew a pirate ship like attacking other ships. And I thought that is maybe the fullest expression of an artist at their prime. They won't even give in to your activity. They're going to do their own thing. So who was it for you, though? And that teacher was fantastic. She was great. She just said, okay. And then you went into that classroom, and it was a bunch of kids' names and then a pirate ship that was his. So I'm curious if you feel like you can answer this. Who told you that you have to be good at something to benefit from it? Who told you that perfection or coming close to it was the goal of any artistic endeavor. And who told you, or who is the voice inside of you or outside that is keeping you from creating? Does anybody have an answer to that? Father. Yeah, absolutely. Some of us have very strong inner critic dad voices. Parents. Jolinda, love it. Never heard it. That's right. That's good. We talk about the goal today is I want you to give yourself and your team will permission to make bad art on purpose or accident and see what it does for your curiosity, the safety, psychological safety of your team, and how you lead or how you contribute to your team. And so we're about to do an exercise. And so if you have a sheet of paper handy, I would love for you to grab that. We're going to do our first artistic exercise. I'm getting my paper. All right. Here's the exercise. It is a blind contour self-portrait. You have 60 seconds. I'll set a timer here. When I say go, you have 60 seconds. I want you to look at your own face from memory in a mirror in your camera view. And I want you to get your piece of paper and a pen. And without looking down, I want you to draw a self-portrait. If you are in the advanced level, I want you to never pick up your pen. I want you to draw what you look like to yourself. And I'm going to tell you right now, the goal is to not look while you're doing it. Like imagine if you were playing basketball and you looked at your dribbling so much you had to have those little blinder glasses on. And what I want you to do is not worry about how good it is. I want you to pay attention to the urge you have to peek at what you're drawing. And I want you to not give in to that urge. So 60 seconds, and I hope some of you will share them. If you're in a space, you can show it to the camera in a little bit. I'll show you mine. I did not pre-draw it. 60 seconds starting now. Okay, time is up. If you did it, I hope you will share it. I will show you mine. I'm looking at it now. So hang on, let me pull up the right thing here. Okay, so here is what mine looked like. Oh, that just went away. Hang on. Can you see it in the chat or in the thing, not on the screen? If you look over there, can everyone see mine?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Anita. I feel like it does. It kind of looks how I feel today. I didn't sleep very well last night. And honestly, maybe I am the next Picasso. Anybody else? Be brave. Show me what you got. All right, Jolinda, let's see.
Feel like Picasso too.
Oh, hang on. I can't hear you, but that's probably on my end because I'm using somebody else's computer. All right, say
Can
that
you
again. I got you now. Oh, hey, look at that. Excellent.
Does it look like a person?
It does. It does. Yeah, Anita, such an encourager. Looks like you, Jolinda. That's great. You got like the feathered hair and everything.
Yeah.
Uh, Dana, if you pull up the participant column instead of my screen sharing, because I may not be smart enough to do it. It's okay, Anita. Yours may look like scribbles. Let's see it. Here's where, if you look on the Dana, does that help? If
Mhm.
you pull up the like gallery view.
Yeah.
I'm working on it. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, gallery view.
Jolinda, we throw yours back up there for a second for Dana.
Well,
Yeah, Anita, I still have not seen your scribbles, and I know where your office is, so come on. All right, Joseph, you're going to put one up?
I have to admit that my spatial thing is so bad, I couldn't do it without looking. Because when I did it without looking, I just did a potato. So with looking, it's a potato with hair and glasses.
Yeah, excellent. No, I've caught myself wanting to look, and I justified it to myself. Was like I wanted to see how much time was left, but my watch is also where my drawing was, and I realized I couldn't do my glasses in one line. Like I'm not
Mm.
smart enough to do the not pick my pen up. So when I went back to do it that way, I was like, oh my gosh, that's not anywhere near what I was doing. But it's okay. It's okay. Anita, you just don't give in to the peer pressure. Kelsey, I see your camera's on. You got something? Oh, hang on. Yeah, it's giving us Hawaii. Your green screen is messing it up. It's cool. We don't, I'm not like saying we have to see your space, but
Okay. Not sure.
I don't. I had the same issue.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she almost looks sassy. It's almost like she's looking off to the side.
Oh yeah. When you're unfiltered, it's a little sassy. I like it. Anybody else? Thank you for participating in that. The other question I would ask is, Joseph was honest that he needed to look down. How many of you were tempted to look down while you were doing it? Or did you register within you a feeling of, yeah, like it is so funny as adults how much we want to get it right that we're like, oh, I'm going to do this. But here is the great news. You benefit from making art when it is not right by anyone's standards because it's the exercise itself that creates some really great things in the brain, which is what we're going to talk about now. If I have not said it before, I should say my wife is a therapist. My daughter is studying neuroscience, so I'm around this conversation a lot. There's also a great book whose authors I cannot pull off the top of my head called Your Brain on Art, um, which is just fantastic exploration on kind of the sociological, anthropological, but primarily neurological impact of art. Um, it's just fascinating. I can't recommend it enough. It's kind of repetitive a little bit, but I think the data they're working with, it was published in 2023. Once we started being able to use functional MRIs, uh, it was remarkable how we can see and measure different aspects of activity on the working brain. So let's talk about very high level overview of three important things that happen when you make art. You're going to have to pardon me in advance for some puns in this. So the first thing that happens is that cortisol drops like a mic. And if I had had a little more time, I would try to get some Eminem clips from Mom Spaghetti, Knees Are Sweaty. I don't think it's Knees Are Sweaty. Knees Weak, Mom Spaghetti. I would try to get some hip hop going on in here. A 2016 study measured stress hormone levels before and after 45 minutes of art making, which is the length of this session. Nearly 75% of participants had lower cortisol afterwards, regardless of the skill level of their art. And I want to say one of the things the book, Your Brain on Art, makes clear is making art certainly has this impact, but also appreciating art can have the same impact. And I want to make sure I also define art very loosely. Prose, poetry, playing an instrument, painting, going to a museum, going to a play, all of these things have similar neurological effects. And the first is that the cortisol drops. And if you know what cortisol is the stress hormone. And it is something that is A, not physiologically good for us. B, I am increasingly convinced, and I think the data supports this, that people do not make good decisions when they are stressed. There's a fascinating book called Spark that is about K-12 education. And one of the statistics that really stuck out with, or data points that really stuck out to me and that stuck with me, is that when students are hungry, the reason feeding programs and food equality and food security matters is that when students are hungry, they experience stress. And when people are stressed, they cannot learn. They are physiologically, neurologically incapable of retaining information in the same way that someone who is fed can. Some of us aren't struggling with food insecurity, but we do struggle with stress. And so anything we can do that lowers that stress hormone and that stress response creates in us an ability to take in information, process information, synthesize information in a better way that makes us better at what we do, because now we're able to approach it in a different way. So that's the first thing that happens. The second thing that happens is that the inner critic goes quiet. If any of you have been on my colleague Lane Mears' webinars, he's talked a lot about the flow state. And flow has been described, I think there's a copy of the book back here somewhere. I cannot pronounce that last name very well. But it's that state you get in when you are like just fully engaged in something and you are centered. It's Zen-like. When you make art or appreciate art, but I'll just keep saying make art for the rest of this. When you make art, you automatically work towards that flow state. It pulls the brain into this focused, low judgment state. And that's powerful because, as we've talked about in some other webinars, what got us here won't get us where we want to go, which means we have to be able to be creative. We have to be able to not self-critique constantly all the ideas that we generate, much less our teammates who may have stupid ideas. We sometimes have to let them run their course. And so anything we can do as a habit, as a practice, to lower that inner critic volume is important for holistic well-being. The third thing that happens is, and this is my wordplay, it's sweet dope. I mean, dopamine. Finishing something you made, even if it is just this, something small and rough, triggers the same dopamine response as completing any meaningful task. Now, I have ADHD, which means my dopamine receptors are longer and require more dopamine. But everybody needs dopamine. It is a positive feedback loop that becomes self-satisfying. And so sometimes One of the best habits we can have when we're feeling down, when we're feeling undervalued, under-equipped, is to do some art. And that will release that dopamine in the same way meaningful activity does. All of this matters because the ability to make art is akin to the ability to be creative. And all of that contributes to changing perspective. We live in systems, we inhabit systems that are going to always want to push to status quo, to homeostasis. That leads to a spiral of hardening perspectives. But I believe, as a human, from our ancestors who were drawing on cave walls to right now people making TikToks, we were made for creativity. And so to talk about a perspective shift, I want to show you a music video. And it's one of my favorite, I love the band, not the band, they're fine too, but the band OK Go. If you've never heard of them, their music is great. Above their music, they are probably the most innovative music video creators, I think, alive. I was talking to a friend in the office the other day. I think since Thriller, they have been the most consistent, excellent music video creators. So I'm going to show you a music video for them called Writings on the Wall. It's about 3 minutes, and let me know if you can't hear it.
Rotate and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and music and go.
Sorry,
Just wanna see some pleasure in your
Okay. I cannot recommend their music videos enough if you are really needing, for me, they're just always uplifting. Uh, they've got one in zero gravity, one in things. But the point of that video in particular is about perspective shifts. I love the one where it's like a bunch of random objects and it comes up over the top, and then suddenly you see that it's a recreation of one of the band members' faces. When we exist in the world, we get locked into our perspectives, and often it's because we have underdeveloped our creativity because we do not engage in art. And maybe you do engage, and that's great, and I encourage you to keep doing it. But uh, one of the things I want us to emerge from this is that everyone is capable of art. On your screen right now is a creativity activity. Um, my mom was a gifted and talented teacher at a nearby school. And I remember clearly as a kid when you took the GT test, they gave you a sheet with something very similar to what's on your screen right now. And it asked you to either draw or tell a story about what that picture was. So, what I'd love for you to do is pick a number of one of these line drawings, and in the Zoom, just tell me what you think it could be in your imagination. You know, maybe number three looks like a Y, but what else could it be? Yeah, four mountains, good. Close up of a broken heart, excellent. Squidward's nose and face. That may be a little bit of my inability to draw in PowerPoint. Crossroads, yeah, on three. Anybody got anything you want to make out of five? One fish hook, yeah. Seven, archway of an Italian Spanish house leading to a garden. Excellent. Five, mustache. That's where I went to with five. Um, then I thought it could also be part of a sleepy owl's face skate park. Excellent. What I love, Rolling Creek. Yeah. What I love is that we're all looking at the same pictures, and at least the responses we're getting on Zoom, none of them are the same. And you may have the same thought as someone else, but what you see is a unique gift that you have. And when you give yourself the space to engage in creativity and in art, well, first of all, you become less judgmental. I'm not saying you are, but less so. And then also, you continuous mountain range. Yeah, the guy in Hades, Sisyphus, Sisyphonian task. There you go. Ally. Yeah, yeah. This is great. And what's happening right now in your brain is that the things we described earlier, just by doing the mental activity of thinking differently about these shapes and creatively, you are actually lowering cortisol. You are increasing dopamine, and the inner critic is being lowered, the volume of the inner critic. There is one downside to a creativity test, and that is the older I have gotten, the more I have realized that it's biased because it is not the fault of certain children that they did not have the kind of childhood that embraced creativity, that they did not have the kind of childhood that had space or the resources for creativity. Because creativity, it can be ingrained. I mean, there is some nature to it, But creativity, like art, is a practice. It is like yoga. It is like strength training. It is like anything. What? Hang on. Anita says there's something, she just sent it to me, but that there is something. Is that better? Can everybody see? No, that's not the right one. Can y'all see these slides, or is something obstructing the view?
It's got like a little thing in, but I can tell what the slide is, but there is a gray thing blocking some of the letters. Just keep going, Brandon. It's fine.
It's fine. All right. Yeah, we got to get rolled up. So when I send you the PDF, hopefully it will not be on there. That's weird. It doesn't typically do that. Okay. My point is creativity is a practice. It is not something you have to be born with. You were born with it. It's just how much has it been fostered? Because your brain does not care for any of the neurological results. Your brain does not care if what you are creating is good. The neuroplasticity, the creation of new connections through repeated use, responds to the act of creating, not the quality of the result. The brain also doesn't care if you are a creative, if you consider yourself creative. Divergent thinking, which is most creative problem solving, it improves with practice. It is not fixed at birth. And so I think that's great. I think it's something we can all grow in. Also, the brain doesn't care about the medium. It doesn't care if your creativity is doodling, cooking, gardening, playing an instrument, or playing at an instrument. The same neural benefits show up across all sorts of different creative acts. And so I want us to be encouraged to really embrace this childlike awe and wonder of the opportunity to create, whether that may be something applicable to our setting or just for kicks. When we do that, we get to paint the culture around us. I believe when we engage as artists, that the very first thing we start to do when we practice an art is really lower that inner critic. When we lower the voice of the inner critic, the culture around us shifts. We can create spaces for psychological safety, whether we're a team lead or just a member of a team. We can engage in those around us with curiosity instead of judgment. How's that going to work? What's it going to do? You can ask that question in a judgmental way, or you can ask it in a, I'm really engaged and want to know. And finally, I think the Buddhist concept of the beginner's mind, of always being open to try something new, to learn something new, is crucial to be an effective leader and a good human. So, yeah, I think we have the opportunity to create phenomenal shifts in the cultures around us if we will approach it like artists. All right, one more exercise. This one you can look at, but it is, I want you to draw anything you can see in your office around you, and I want you to do it with your offhand. I put wrong in quotes because I know left-handed people often feel like, they get called wrong-handed all the time. Whatever hand you don't normally eat with or write with, I want you to use that hand, take 60 seconds, and I want you to draw anything you see in your office. Go. Okay. Time's up. Here's mine. This is a drawing of the coffee cup that is sitting in front of me right now. Anybody else got anything you would like to share? Man, that is really weird. I see it now, what you're talking about. Anybody else get any good left hand or offhand drawings? Throw it up in the Zoom gallery.
Mine's a money plant. I don't know if you guys can see it. Oh,
Oh, excellent. Did it feel wobbly?
yeah, it's like,
Yeah, mine has definitely got some like wobble, some jitter to it.
yeah, could use some strength training, I'm sure.
Yeah, I play my son pickleball left-handed sometimes, but it doesn't apparently convert to drawing. So, anybody else want to share? Taylor. Come on, Zoom. Show me. Okay. What is it? It's a little blurry because of the Zoom camera.
Oh, sorry. Drawing my hands. I just went crazy drawing my hands.
Did it feel jittery?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
It felt weird.
Yeah.
But cool.
Yeah, what a great exercise. Like I play guitar. My left hand is really good at like making chords, but really dumb at everything else. And it's just such a great thing because you're firing a different side of your brain when you're using that offside than what you typically do. Okay, getting close to the end here. Just a few more things. I want you to have permission to be bad. And I want you to give permission to be, and I don't mean like bad, like wrong, but freedom to fail is crucial to growth. That's how we wound up on the moon. You know, if we did not experiment, we would never get there. So that's not even something we would typically consider artistic, but engaging in art is something that can give us the neurological pathways to reflect that in other parts of our life. Just remember, the benefit is in the making. It is not in the masterpiece. And to me, maybe most importantly, it's not just your team. As far as I know, everybody watches how you handle imperfection more than perfection. Watching how you develop resilience, how you respond to setbacks, is far more telling of character and leader development than the wins. So, what is one creative practice, one creative act that you can commit to practice in the coming week? I'd love to see it in the Zoom chat. Doodle an office plant. Admiring more beauty. Excellent. Drawing more with your left hand. Good. I would be really curious if you have the time to send me an email, if you would spend a week singing along with the radio to and from work. Yeah. I personally listen to a lot of books in the car, but this week I've been listening to some Noah Kahn, and I just feel like so much more in touch with my emotions because I sing with it on the way to and from work. I feel like I'm showing up in a different way. Um, I think I would be really curious if you are able to take something this week and commit to it for a week. If you could follow up with me, if it makes a difference for you just in how you're feeling, I would love to hear that feedback. All right, last thing. based on what we've talked about, would any of you rate your artistic ability higher or lower than you did at the beginning? Hey, we got some 7s and 6s. All right. Not really, but the urge is there. I will accept that. That's very acceptable. Yeah, every single one of you has the ability to make art. Uh, you do. And so, kind of the last thing I would say to you is go make something. Like, go make a change, go make a painting, go make a new song about whatever. Uh, you don't need permission from anyone to make what is inside of you. And when you do, you will benefit from it in far-reaching ways. All right, sorry about the technical bugs today, but thank you for being here and for sharing your art, being brave in that way. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing y'all in the future.